Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 3 of our WWF Invasion 2001 save in TEW IX. This is Raw is War for May 7th, 2001. The follow-up from our first show, which was SmackDown, and we left off with some interesting storylines coming out of it. And we are still on the road to Judgment Day, several weeks away now. That'll be week 4, so we've still got 3 Raws and SmackDowns to go before we get to Judgment Day, but let's see how it plays out here. So we start things off. JR and Heyman, of course, welcome us to the show. We get the pyro, all that 2001 stuff, and then we immediately hear the music of Steve Austin, and here comes Austin and Triple H, who are marching down to the ring. We know what kind of mood they're in after it was Kane, who came back to make the save for his brother last week on SmackDown. And now it is Austin and Triple H making a beeline for the ring. Austin gets in there. He's got his WWF title. Triple H has got the Intercontinental Championship. And Austin calls out Taker. He calls out Kane. Triple H grabs the microphone away from Austin. He starts running his mouth about Kane and all this stuff. So they're wanting a fight, and they're wanting the Brothers of Destruction to make their way down. However, as you can see here, they don't show up. So Triple H and Austin keeps calling them cowards and all this other stuff, but there is no Taker, there is no Kane, and as we saw last week, that was kind of the formula. They didn't know where Kane was, and it was sort of seemingly a setup as Kane came to make the save for Taker. So they don't come out here, so Austin and Triple H are getting pissed off. Austin goes over, he grabs a couple chairs, and these two sit their asses right in the middle of the ring on these chairs. So they are waiting, and Austin says, Vince McMahon's not here, and they're going to do whatever they want to do. Vince is tending to some other business right now, and so they're running the show, Austin and Triple H. And so let's get to 91 for the segment. So they're sitting here waiting and waiting. Fans are getting a little restless. Well, 2 people come out, but it's not The Undertaker and it's not Kane. Instead, pretty good segment here, 82 for this one, a little better than I thought. But it is the Dudley Boys who make their way out, Bubba Ray and Devon, who come out. And they're looking at Austin and Triple H, and these two are just wondering, what the hell are these guys doing out here? And so Bubba and Devon come out, and they say, you know, guys, we haven't seen The Undertaker or Kane, but we're looking for a fight, and more importantly, we're looking for our tag team championships. So Bubba kind of making, the point here that the Dudleys are former champions, and they're tired of watching these two hog everything in the WWF, and they're going to take the championships back from them unless they're the ones who are really the cowards. And so Bubba kind of goading Triple H and Austin here. And so the challenge is accepted. It is Bubba and Devon sort of just continuing to throw some jabs at Austin and Triple H's way until these two say they'll fight anybody, so they accept. And we're going to have a match coming up in just a bit. This will not be our main event, as you'll see, but we are going to have a match. It's going to be Steve Austin and Triple H accepting the challenge here of the Dudley Boys to face off for the WWF Tag Team Championships. That match will take place in just a little bit. At the top of the hour, we will have this tag team extravaganza. White hot crowd here, 82 for the segment. And then we kind of come out of that, where it is Eddie Guerrero going one-on-one with Taka, and it is Eddie getting the win, 521 via the pinfall here, 67, pretty good stuff. But as we've noted, we're going to keep getting that penalty with Eddie due to the personal issues and that kind of stuff. And so Taka's got, poor momentum here. That gives a little bit of a knock here in terms of the penalties. The commentary, as we said, quality still penalized, even though we do have JR and Paul Heyman, both very good at play-by-play and color commentary, but they don't really have, the experience together and all that. So we got to keep building that up, and we're going to keep getting those penalties for as long as we do. And just as a note, I will let you know, I did try to hire Jerry the King Lawler to bring him back, but the King refuses to work for Vince McMahon. So this was kind of at that time where I don't remember exactly what it played out, something with the cat and all that, but so we kind of have that right there. So we can't bring back JR and the King just yet, but there is a way, I think, to get around that at some point in the future. All right, so Eddie gets the win. Remember, Eddie was kind of giving the stare down to the Hardys after their match last week. But now we get it back to William Regal, who has his assistant near him. And, of course, remember, he's still the acting commissioner here. And we kind of teased potentially a change with that in the future. But Regal telling his assistant he wants to send a message to Steven Richards, who is, of course, the leader of the Right to Censor, and he tells the assistant to go tell Richards that he wants them to censor Chris Jericho right here tonight on Raw is War. So 65 for the segment, just kind of continuing, we know, the frustration that Regal has with Jericho. Jericho beat X-Pac last week. Regal was kind of looking forward to seeing Jericho lose again after he beat him in the Duchess of Queensberry rules match at Backlash. But Regal now putting the RTC in charge, so we'll see which member of the RTC perhaps tries to gain the edge on Jericho. 65 here for this one. All right, now we get to a video package looking at what we saw last week, which was, on SmackDown, The Big Show getting that win over K-Quick in convincing fashion. And then it was Vince McMahon just berating The Big Show backstage over him not getting the job done in the last man standing match at Backlash against Shane McMahon. And Vince, calling Shane every name in the book, calling him one of his biggest mistakes of his life and all of this other stuff. And so we kind of get that here, building off of that. As we said, commentary also noting Vince McMahon still not here at Raw. We have cameras in the back trying to see when Vince is going to arrive. He is still not here. And as we know, Vince had that mysterious phone call at the end of SmackDown. There's no Vince yet, but 64 here for the segment on this one. And then we get to, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? A 37 match between these two teams. These are not bad teams, but it did bring the crowd down. I guess it worked in that effect. But we do get a 37 rating here for this one. Grandmaster Sexy penalized due to being in extremely poor form, so that didn't help. We did cool the crowd a little bit. We haven't even got to the result yet. We'll get to it in a second. But we did do storytelling, so that probably did not help either on this. We had the odd face heel combination. Yeah, so this was just a complete disaster, this tag team match. But it's okay. Too Cool did get the win over the Hollies. So it was Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty 2 Hotty getting the win over Hardcore and Crash here. And this time around, as we saw on SmackDown, it was some miscommunication between Crash and Hardcore, which caused Hardcore to get pinned in that match. This time, though, it is, in fact, the other way around, as Hardcore Holly accidentally wipes out Crash, and that, of course, allows Too Cool to get the win. Scotty 2 Hotty going with the worm to get the people on their feet. And so Too Cool gets the victory here. And, of course, after the match, we know what Too Cool does, right? They're dancing, they're celebrating, and all this other stuff while the Hollies are continuing to argue with each other for a second straight show. Too Cool having the time of their lives. Until Kurt Angle comes out. Your Olympic hero has made his way out, and Kurt Angle hits the ring, and the Hollies just kind of walking by, and they see Angle hitting the ring here. He hits the Angle Slam on both Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty 2 Hotty, and so Angle has left Too Cool down and out here, and Angle immediately goes over. He grabs the microphone. This gets a 77 for this one, and Kurt Angle now is talking about how the fans, all they've been talking about this weekend is him losing to The Undertaker. Angle says it never happened. He said, I'll do exactly to SmackDown's footage what I did to the footage of Backlash. I never tapped out at Backlash, and it's you people who are the problem. I never lost to The Undertaker. And Angle just says, I have something to prove. I'm tired of everybody dancing around here. I am the Olympic gold medalist. People need to respect me around here, and I'm going to keep doing whatever I have to do to earn everybody's respect. You're not going to tell me I suck and all this other stuff. So, kind of Angle just cutting a heel promo, right, about his recent luck where he lost the submission match at Backlash to Benoit. Now he loses to The Undertaker on SmackDown. And so Kurt Angle kind of on a losing streak here. And so that's where things stand with Kurt Angle. All right, then we get into the match. So as Angle is finishing up his rant, we see the entrance of the two-man power trip here, our current WWF Tag Team Champions, Steve Austin and Triple H. They make their way out for this big tag team bout against the Dudley Boys. And in a 71, pretty even across the board here in terms of the numbers, it is the two-man power trip. Austin and Triple H retaining the championships, beating the Dudley Boys in 8:29 after Austin catches Devon with the stunner. And so that is their first official, offense of the title. Of course, they won them at Backlash, so they've only had a couple of shows. But we do kind of get something here that's notable. they don't work well as a team, and they're our current tag team champions. So that is not ideal, right? So we get a bad sort of timing with them as a team. Of course, we're not going to have that with the Dudley Boys. Even, the in-ring performances of Triple H and Austin were not great here, 78. I mean, that's fine, right? But it's not Kurt Angle levels or anything like that. So I also think, as we look at this, my guess is, as I was going through some of these people, looking at some things, physical condition. When I looked at Steve Austin and pulled up kind of his attributes, because I know that's, definitely something we have to look at more in this game now, I'm looking at Austin, and he's got, like, the orange everywhere. Like, this guy's physical condition is not great right now at this point, which, makes sense. If you go back in reality, that was kind of the case. So Triple H, his was not as bad, nowhere near as bad as Austin, but, man, it is kind of interesting to see that that's Austin physical condition. He's our current WWF champion, and he's one half of the tag team champion. So we're going to have to get a little creative here, maybe in terms of trying to give Austin a little rest to heal up a bit. But 71, they retain the championships, and so they are successful here in their defense, but we know who they're still looking for, right? Well, they don't have to wait long, because here comes the Undertaker and Kane. And yes, as I told you guys, I'm still getting the hang of this whole multi-part angle settings and all that, and it's just easier right now for me to move through this in terms of just kind of plotting these in separate angles. But I am getting to the point where I think, starting with the next several episodes, we're going to have the multi-part segments and all that kind of stuff. But for now, just humor me for a minute, and let's just go with this way that I've been doing. So here comes Taker and Kane, right? They've made their way out. So we have Taker and Austin pair off, and then we have them kind of brawl through the crowd, your typical Attitude Era type thing where you have these two brawling through the crowd and all that. So they're brawling out, and we don't know where they've gone, right? They're all by themselves. So they're out of the picture. So this gets an 85. And then, even better here, 89. I'm surprised with this one. So, of course, Stephanie is ringside with Triple H because, it's his wife. She accompanied him to the ring. And so, Kane, meanwhile, gets the upper hand on Triple H here. Triple H tries to go for the pedigree, doesn't work. Kane hits the choke slam. So, he hits the choke slam on Triple H. Triple H is down. And then it is Kane who gives a look at Stephanie, who is standing there all alone, no help. So, Kane looks over at Stephanie, and then, right beside Triple H, was, of course, his Intercontinental Championship. So Kane picks up the Intercontinental title. He looks over at Stephanie, and then it is just sort of Kane left to stand over Triple H here. And, then Triple H a little bit near the rope, so Stephanie able to kind of pull Triple H out of harm's way as Kane just continues to stand there holding the Intercontinental Championship before he throws it down outside. So, again, Austin and Taker have brawled away. We don't know where the hell they're at, but Kane has gotten the upper hand on Triple H here. That is notable for now. 89 here for this segment. All right, now we get kind of your simmering down portion here. Give the crowd a little bit of a breather after that. So kind of the story here is we're going with Ivory comes out, and she's giving you your usual RTC spill, right, about how things that are good or bad and all this kind of stuff, right? She's cutting this RTC-type promo and everything, and how she's going to censor, every woman here in the WWF, given their clothing and all this other stuff. Like, she's going to make sure she takes care of that. And then we have Chyna come out, and Chyna just basically, just tries to shut Ivory up. And so we kind of get an impromptu match here. It's not for the championship. Remember, Chyna is our WWF Women's Champion. Chyna comes out, accepts Ivory's challenge. Ivory challenges to a match, all that stuff. But really, I mean, look, you don't really have a lot to this. This is just, as we said, we had to get a match on the show that aims at eye candy, and this was what we had for this particular show for now. I told you guys I'm still working on kind of adding to the women's roster because I think we need more talent on the roster to be able to make this work. But for now, Chyna's our champion. And of course, she's also going through the personal issues, so we're going to get that penalty as well with her. But this brings the crowd down a little bit. Chyna shuts up Ivory here, gets the win in less than 3 minutes, 56 for the segment. All right, so it's revealed now, and we go backstage, and we see that Vince McMahon has arrived. And who is the first person that he runs into? Well, it is Kurt Angle, who we know Angle was kind of on one earlier, ranting and raving about, how he wants to be respected, coming off the back-to-back losses now. And so, Kurt Angle is coming in. He's asking questions about where Austin and Taker went. Vince says he doesn't know. He just got here, but he did see Triple H and Stephanie, and he advised them they need to leave the arena. So Triple H and Stephanie are out of there. Vince has kind of, said that he's sending everybody off. He doesn't know where Austin and Taker are. They fought their way into who knows where. And so Kurt Angle says, you know what, Vince? I've got your back. Let me go out there and face Kane. I know Kane's still here. You told Triple H to leave. Let me go out there. I've got something to prove. And so Vince just says, all right, Kurt, do whatever you want. I've got more important matters to deal with right now. I trust that Austin and Triple H will take care of those two bastards, The Undertaker and Kane. But tonight, they're out of here. You go take care of it because I got more important business that I've got to deal with, and I'm going to deal with it in that very ring later on tonight. So Kurt Angle is going to step up to Kane now after he stepped up to The Undertaker last week. Let's see how it turns out for our Olympic hero, Kurt Angle. 76 here for this segment. All right, now we get into a tag team match. It is the Hardy Boys going up against X Factor, X-Pac, and Just Incredible. And in a 56 here, not too bad. I mean, get some good bonuses across the board. But, as I probably look at this, I mean, we probably got some penalties for, inconsistency for these two and some low experience. So this did about as well as it could, minus just a couple minor penalties. But it is the Hardys getting the win over X Factor in 519 after disqualification because Edge runs in and attacks Jeff Hardy. We know, kind of set that up on SmackDown with Edge and Christian telling the Hardys to stay out of their business. And then now it's Edge running in to attack Jeff Hardy. So it's Edge getting involved in the Hardy Boys business here. And so we kind of have Edge run in. We also have Christian come in as well. And we're kind of going to see this play out here afterwards. So, I probably should have put these in a different order. And actually, I thought I kind of did. But, they run in, attack the Hardys. Ref calls for the DQ. That's kind of your story here, right? So they've attacked, and they get a little bit of the advantage on the Hardys here after, we kind of see Edge and Christian laughing because, remember, they're the ones who acted like the Hardys were getting involved in their business, which, as we can tell, kind of the opposite here. So Edge and Christian cost the Hardy Boys the match in terms of winning, but they still win by DQ against X Factor. More to come with this. 61 for this one. All right, then we do come back from commercial. So we go to commercial, we come back, and it's backstage, and we do see Matt Hardy being checked out by the trainers. Matt, the one who kind of got a little bit worse for wear coming out of this, maybe a little bit more so than Jeff. So the trainers are checking on Matt. Michael Cole comes in, and it's Michael Cole who sort of alerts Matt Hardy to say, Matt, I don't see your European Championship. You just had it out there. Where did it go? And Matt's looking around. He can't find the European title. So he has no idea where the title is, and Jeff immediately is like, we know who took it. Edge and Christian, we know they took the championship and all this, so kind of insinuating that they're coming after Edge and Christian, who clearly, we know Christian, came up short at Backlash in that three-way match, and so we know that Christian probably up to something here, but there's no European title. They can't find it, and so these two are certainly going to take aim at Edge and Christian to get their answer. So it's 51 here for this segment. All right, now we get into Chris Jericho versus Val Venus. As yes, it is the big Val Boski stepping up as part of the RTC. He's the person who's trying to censor Chris Jericho. Well, as you can tell, it did not happen. Jericho gets the win in 6:51 after we get some botched interference by Bull Buchanan. So the RTC try to use the numbers game, but once again, this is not going to make Commissioner Regal happy, as it's Jericho who finds himself on the winning side of things. And so Jericho building some momentum after that loss to Regal at Backlash. 68, I mean, decent. I mean, look, you got a 46 from Val here. It is what it is. So we're just kind of continuing the thread here that Jericho keeps picking up wins when Regal is just kind of sitting back waiting for him to lose again. Hasn't happened so far. So Jericho gets another win here in this one. All right, then we get Vince McMahon backstage, and he is on the phone. And he, we can kind of hear on the other end. So remember, this is 2001, right? Vince probably got himself a nice flip phone, something like that. He's pulled out here. And so we can kind of hear the sound coming through, and it's a yelling Triple H. So Triple H is yelling. It's coming through. Vince is telling him, calm down, calm down. And Triple H just says, if that big red monster wants to stare at my wife, if he wants to touch my championship, you got to make the match, Vince. You've got to make the match. And so Triple H yelling about making the match here with Kane, and Vince says he will take care of it. He will take care of it, but he says, just like I told Kurt Angle, I have more important matters to deal with. I need to get off the phone because my guest is officially here. So Vince McMahon hanging up the phone with Triple H, who has requested, something with Kane, some kind of match. We'll see what that's going to be. But Vince has said his guest has arrived. Who is it? We'll find out, perhaps, after our main event. 88 here for this segment. And speaking of our main event, there we go. Now that's what we're looking for in terms of a main event. Angle and Taker didn't do bad, but I'm actually surprised Angle and Kane did better. That does surprise me a little bit, to be honest with you. But 87 here for this one, as it is Kurt Angle and Kane fighting to a double countout. Oh yeah, we're not giving you clean finishes every week in the Attitude Era. That's not happening. So Angle and Kane fight to a double countout here, as we kind of get the story of Kane getting ready to choke slam Angle, and he's clearly got the advantage. He's turned the tide a little bit, and then Angle starts to walk away to try to intentionally get himself counted out. Kane gives chase because he was trying to basically do the same thing we saw earlier with Taker and Austin. So it's Kane chasing Angle out of the picture. So now we don't know where these two have gone. Taker and Austin have fought 6 zip codes away. Kane and Angle are fighting who knows where now. So now they've fought off. So just pure chaos here tonight on Raw is War. But they fight out of there. But hey, I'm gonna be perfectly fine with an 87. And remember, this is such a great era where you only have to go 7 minutes to get an 87 match. We don't need that 15 stuff that we were having to do in the WWE 2021 saves and all that, the AEW saves and everything. Nah, just give us a good 5 minutes. That's all I need out of you. 7 minutes maybe, and you give me some world-class scores here at an 87 match. So there you go. Kane chases away Kurt Angle. They're out of there. And so we come back from commercial, and as you would expect, we're not done because Vince comes out, and really nothing for Vince to be scared of here. As he says, I have nothing to be afraid of. I have nothing to back down from. I don't care that Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, and maybe even Kurt Angle have left the building. I don't care where The Undertaker is. I don't care where Kane is. And I don't care where the Big Show, who came up short against one of the biggest mistakes of my life, my son, Shane McMahon. And I don't care because I'm as confident as ever. I own sports entertainment. I own professional wrestling. And Vince says, but even with all that said, I couldn't do it alone. I could not have made the WWF into what it has been today. I could not be as powerful as I am today without the help of others out there. And there's someone who made me want to be even better. There's someone out there who forced me to become the most dominant entity in the history of sports entertainment. And Vince says, so tonight, I am welcoming that someone here to Raw is War for the first time ever. So everyone, please stand up. Give your applause for my special guest. 83 for the segment. And here comes Vince McMahon's special guest for Raw is War, the person who made him what he is today. And out comes Eric Bischoff. 90 for the segment. Eric Bischoff makes his way down the ramp, and it's May 2001. This is about as holy shit of a moment as you're going to get. Bischoff comes out months after the sale of WCW to Vince McMahon. Here comes Eric Bischoff, and Bischoff gets into the ring. People are wondering what's going to happen. And it is Vince McMahon who steps up to Eric Bischoff, and they shake hands and hug right in the middle of the ring as JR is, and Heyman especially, we know how Heyman feels about Bischoff, are saying, what in the hell have we just witnessed here on Raw is War? And that's how we go off the air. Vince McMahon and Eric Bischoff shaking hands as we go off the air for this edition of Raw is War. 90 for the segment to finish things off. So, where do we go from here? Perhaps we will find out on SmackDown. All right, so we get a 79 for the show. We increase our popularity. Yes, just like I thought, I think we're still going to need one more show before we get all of our storylines to hot or above, but we're almost there. All we need is SmackDown, and I guarantee you the Jericho William Regal one is going to go up to the hot level, and I think that will get us exactly where we need to be. There may be one more we need to get to that level. It's getting pretty close now, just based on the scores, just doing it in my mind. So a 79, this probably would have been, an 85-plus type show if we had the hot storylines, but we're going to get the penalty for that. All good because, as I said, we're kind of playing against ourselves, and I'm not really worried about dropping popularity the first couple shows. This is the norm for pretty much any series I do. I know it's going to happen when we run as many storylines as we do, and when we need to have 5 that are that, at that level, it's going to take a couple, shows to kind of build those up to that. So I thought a really good show overall. Again, we had sort of the shocking segment to close the show. Why is Eric Bischoff here? Vince McMahon was saying all these positive things about Eric Bischoff. What is going on right now? We will find out. Kurt Angle, Kane with a great main event. Austin and Taker, Triple H and Kane. It's going to get fun from here. So there you go. That was Raw. Let's jump into the after show stuff. And we can see our financial reports. We made quite a bit of money on this particular show here as we get $771,965. Our overall profit coming out of this. We sold $300,000 plus worth of tickets. We got the broadcast revenue, selling over $100,000 worth of merch. We're a money-making machine right now here coming out of this. So our popularity recap, as you can see, we did gain, we gained some in Japan, get a little bit here in South Wales and Victoria. Not really any drop here. I mean, we saw it drop from 85 to 84 after SmackDown. So even, with a 79, we're okay right now. I'm not really. The next show, I think, will certainly start our run of probably 80-something plus type shows. So we're okay with that right now. And so that was kind of the after show stuff. Let's see what else we need to get to before we wrap up. All right, so Raw is War, a positive show, like the vast majority of it. We'll start striking gold here soon enough. We mentioned Jerry Lawler on the show. He gets a poll for who's the best color commentator. Oh, so they're really just rubbing it in our face now, right? We can't get Lawler because he won't work for Vince right now. And so they're just letting us know, hey, you wouldn't have all these penalties for commentary if you had Jerry Lawler. But we can't get him right now, so that's that. All right, let's look at the mail. I did pull it up a second ago just to kind of see what we were working with here. We get a 6.25 for Raw. Those were the days where you were getting 4.6 million viewers for Raw. That's something. Sunday Night Heat, we got a 0.43, so we got 330,000 viewers for Sunday Night Heat. I still think that's a win. By the way, Eddie Guerrero did change his style. He went from, I don't remember, I think he was still classified under a luchador, but now becomes a technician, so Eddie evolving here on that. And just as a note for SmackDown, I mentioned the numbers. We got a 6.21 for SmackDown. Our ratings are incredible right now. So, I long for the days of those ratings for sure. I can't show you what's in here because that may have something to do with some new additions to the roster. But for now, you can make your predictions on who you think that may be. But all right, so there you go. That was Raw. I hope you guys are enjoying this save so far. I am. This was my favorite. I mean, for me, probably between this and the height of the golden age era, late 80s, early 90s, I think this is about as good as it gets in terms of my fandom, in terms of the past stuff. So, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun going back through and getting to book some different ideas with the characters. And, of course, you're booking the invasion. Like, this is just, there's so many ideas. Like, I could do this 50 times and probably have a different approach each time, but this is the one we're going to go with. And like I said, you'll start to see things are about to pick up a little bit. We just saw a WCW figure being introduced, but like I said, a bit of a slow burn. Not everything. We're not going to be doing dream match after dream match the first couple months. That's just not going to happen. So we're making this as a long-term save, and we kind of like to build up the backstory and all that stuff first. So there you go. That was Raw. As always, appreciate you guys watching. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on your way out, and let me know your thoughts on the Raw is War and any predictions you have going forward here for the series. Be sure to check out everything else if you want to go back to TEW 2020. A lot of series on the channel you can check out there. Some really fun ones. WWE 2021, we did over 100 plus episodes there. The TCW Cverse series, a lot of fun too. Even had fun with the WWF 1992 one. We didn't get a lot of episodes into that one, but some nostalgia there. And I'm going to try to wait for maybe one of those type early 90s, late 80s type mods to be done. I'd love to play one of those here on TW9. So if anyone has any suggestions on that, send them my way. But again, appreciate you guys watching as always. And on the next episode of our WWF Invasion 2001 save, it will be SmackDown for May Week 2.